one of our favorite representatives in the halls of Congress, 2nd District Congressman Republican Scott Rigell, the embodiment of both straight talk and common sense. That's why we love having him on. Scott Rigell from the 2nd District of Virginia. Glad to have you with us.
Well, good morning, John. And look, what a great way to start my day hearing that. So thank you.
Well, we're fired up, Congressman, to have you on. He has stood up to the Beltway creature, Grover Norquist, and basically tore up his pledge and said, I'm going to do what I have to do to fix our problems. I'm not going to be beholden to some ridiculous pledge that makes no sense. By the way, the only person benefiting from this, the Grover Norquist pledge is Grover Norquist. The guy makes millions of dollars. I mean, he has figured this whole thing out. He's got a Leviathan in there, and we commend the congressman for standing up to him. We think that whole thing is poppycock. We got to solve these issues. Why we really wanted to have you on today, Congressman, is you've joined a group of problem solvers in Congress, and on Monday, this is a bipartisan effort. You're going to a meeting in Manhattan. It's called Make America Work, and it's part of the Problem Solvers organization. Give us some insight on what that organization is and how you got involved.
It's a fine organization. It is a group of men and women who have come across, from across our country, community leaders, business leaders, concerned citizens, Democrats and Republicans, who have said, look, we can't stay on this path of really gridlock. And they have helped us, I think, inside Congress. There's a number of us who have been creating initiatives like my Fix Congress Now caucus, which is comprised of Democrats and Republicans, to identify really just common sense, common ground issues. For example, like the No Budget, No Pay Act. That was introduced by a good friend, Congressman Jim Cooper out of Tennessee. He happens to be a Democrat, but he's got a great bill which simply says if we don't pass a budget, members of Congress don't get paid. And that resonates deeply across this country. It is not a Democrat or a Republican issue. It's just an American issue. And so it's helping to get members of Congress to work together. It's not a moderate group. It's not a conservative or a liberal group. It's just trying to find some common ground, and I'm proud to be associated with it and help be an advocate for it.
We understand that there's a chairman and a co-chairman. Chairman is former Utah Governor John Huntsman, right?
Yes, that's correct. And Senator Manchin, he's a solid fellow. I've enjoyed getting to know him. Angus King, a newly elected U.S. Senator, he's an independent, which is interesting, and he's going to be part of this as well. And I don't know the exact number of representatives, but there are many of us, and we're growing, and we're intent on elevating the civility of the debate, the facts of a debate, making sure that there's a common set of facts that aren't, just simply talking points, and just getting us together on a regular basis, which, I do a lot of that anyway. I have Democrats over to our place in Washington. Terry and I fixed a home-cooked meal, and this really is important. As simple as that sounds, and it maybe even sounds a bit naive, but it really isn't. Getting to know people, which is not common in Washington anymore, is important, I think, for us to find some solid ground and common ground.
I think that is exactly one of the things we have to do, and it dovetails with our whole mantra for our show, is that you can have different opinions on, you can disagree, and have an honest debate and be honest brokers of the truth without insulting people, being nasty, throwing bombs. I mean, at the end of the day, that's not solving anything. If we've got a better idea, then hopefully if you have a dialogue, the better idea at the end will carry the day. That doesn't always happen, but you've got a shot at it. Without a dialogue, you have no opportunity at all to be able to get compromise or work your differences out.
And Congressman Rigell, with this Make America Work program, we're not talking about, because on first impression, people might think this. We're not talking about more stimulus packages, but real
solutions.
solutions.
No. It's not an economic agenda here. What it is, it's an agenda for us to find a better way for Republicans and Democrats to work through very difficult issues. I'll sit down with any Democrat and talk about entitlements, but I really am not going to start out with the basic premise that I don't care about our seniors, for example. It's actually because I do care about our seniors and those who are on Medicare that I'm proposing the reforms that I'm proposing. And so what I'm looking for are other members of Congress, and specifically Democrats, who will engage in a thoughtful discussion on that, but not position me as if I don't care, about seniors, and I'm not going to question their motives. And that really can be done, and that's what we're about. And I'm excited about where all this goes.
So you're talking about retraining and education and business-friendly environments and maybe reducing everything's on the table with this, correct?
And accountability, basically changing the institution itself, requiring more out of members of Congress to lead by example. The No Budget, No Pay Act is a good example of that. And the listeners can go to, I believe it's nolabels.org, but if you even Google search that will certainly bring up the right website. And folks can learn more about it. And it's really an external organization that's doing some good work. And we were doing a lot of this internally with our Fix Congress Now caucus that I started when I first got into Congress in this last term. And, we may end up even kind of folding in to No Labels, our caucus, just because I think it's important to kind of get behind one effort and move things forward.
Now, you've got Governor Huntsman, Senator Manchin, obviously Jim Moran, also from Virginia. How did you guys get pulled into this? Who approached you, or was it kind of a collective effort to put this together? Because it's a great idea, obviously.
They actually reached out to us initially. We were so busy our first couple of years. I've never worked as hard. I've been an entrepreneur all my life, but I've never worked as hard as I have the last couple of years. Just so much going on, so many challenges, and it's the first public office I'd ever served in. But along the way, folks from No Labels wanted to meet with us, to meet with me, and we accepted that request, and I met with them in my office, and they said, look, we think you're a perfect candidate here. You're elevating the quality of the debate, just the way you're going about this, the Fix Congress Now caucus. We think there's some alignment here. And that's how I learned about it. And I wasn't quite sure because I thought, well, maybe this is just some type of mushy middle organization, which I'm not. that is not appealing to me. I'm a fiscal conservative, and I feel strongly about the risk that the Republic is taking on because of our fiscal situation. But once I got to know them and start to go to the meetings and see who was involved and what they weren't requiring of us, which was some kind of litmus test of, here's, you got to agree to this, and this, and that wasn't present. It's a great, and really the only organization that I know that's really trying to bring members of the two parties together on a regular basis to work through some difficult issues.
Well, it's all about the dialogue, and we appreciate, Congressman, you getting involved in that. We're talking with 2nd District Republican Congressman Scott Rigell. Congressman, we got a couple more minutes. I got to get right to the debt ceiling crisis. Another crisis looming again. We expect the repeat of the same drama. How do we solve this now?
Well, we need leadership. And I'd say, and this is not a partisan comment, but we do need more leadership from our Democratic friends. The principal driver of the threat to the country on the fiscal side is spending. That cannot be in dispute for anyone who's approached this in any objective manner. So, as I see it, and I may be wrong, and I'm ready to be corrected, but I don't see definitive plans from our folks on the other side, and we've got to see this. The president he's not leading and putting anything out there that's bold, and he's in his last term here. He said he's not running again for anything, which I hope that's the case. And so how can we get through this unless he's willing to put something specific out? We are, as Republicans, we've done that in our budget, and we have leverage here. I don't like the fact that we're having to use the debt ceiling as leverage, but we passed up this last opportunity, and you know how I feel about that.
Right.
The fiscal cliff. So this is a pressure point, and we're going to use it responsibly.
Congressman Rigell, if Republicans are unable to get a comprehensive debt reduction package on the table that includes real reductions in spending to get the growing deficit under control, do you think that there's a majority of Republicans in the House that are willing to let the government shut down?
That's John, I only hesitate because I really think that's one of the most difficult of all the votes I've cast and all the things that we've considered. I'm a businessman. I mean, I still have a business. I didn't sell it because I don't want to get totally attached to Washington. And the implications of that are very, very serious. And yet, so is this path that we're on, of continuous escalating debt. So therein lies the real question is this the time to say, under no circumstances, absolutely not, absent a definitive agreement, that's going to be a really tough vote. It's going to be a tough several months here. And to answer your question directly, I'd say that, John, I'm just not sure. Honestly, I'm just not sure. And if I had a better answer, I'd give it to you. But it's hard to get into the minds of other members, and we certainly don't know what we're going to be faced with, how close it comes to a definitive solution to our fiscal situation.
Well, we appreciate your candor, Congressman Rigell. Typically on our show, we don't like to ask hypothetical questions, but I think, right now is the time we have to start asking if there is not spending cuts on the table that can eventually get our debt under control. Are Republicans going to be willing to shut the government down? Because if they're not, then it's, in our view in the media, it's just going to be another high drama midnight replay of what we went through in the Senate. Mitch McConnell brokering a deal at the end with his staff who, to us, it was something in between Johnny Appleseed and the Pied Piper at midnight. So something's got to be done. Hopefully this can get resolved. Now, final question. We've got a couple minutes. Let's go to the foreign policy end, where Chuck Hagel, the nominee for Secretary of Defense, coming under some criticism by some Republican senators, Lindsey Graham being one of them, says he's going to not vote for Hagel. Chuck Hagel, like your father, a decorated veteran, served in Vietnam, still has shrapnel in his heart. How do you see the Hagel thing working now?
We start out with a basic level of respect for his service to his country, our country. They'll go through that very deliberative process in the Senate of confirmation. And I think what's critical and what I'd be looking for is what is his view with respect to sequestration? How does he see that? What's his overall view of the defense budget? I am a strong advocate for finding more efficiency within the DoD budget, and that can be done. It must be done. They don't do a good job with budgeting and accounting for the money that they do have. I know because I've sat on a panel that examined that. Sequestration is not, even if someone holds the view that defense spending should come down, sequestration is not the way to do it. It's violent. It hurts us both in national defense and our economy. So that's where I'd be looking, and I hope the senators are rigorous in their examination and vote their conviction.
That's going to wrap things up. Congressman Scott Rigell. Congressman, as always, we want to thank you for your time and also your candor. We really appreciate it. So does our audience. And we'll look forward to having you on, perhaps as the week unfolds. And we appreciate the fact that you're trying to lead this bipartisan effort. Have a great day.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.